让我们热烈欢迎中共中央总书记习近平同志讲话。
Let us warmly welcome Comrade Xi Jinping, the General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee, to deliver remarks.
女士们、先生们、同志们、朋友们，大家好！我也很高兴在这里同各位记者朋友们见面。
Ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, good morning. It is a great pleasure to meet friends from the media.
昨天，中国共产党第20次全国代表大会已经胜利闭幕了。这是一次高举旗帜、凝聚力量、团结奋进的大会。
Yesterday, the Communist Party of China successfully concluded its 20th National Congress. It was a congress of holding high our banner, pooling our strength, and forging ahead in unity.
国际社会对中共20大高度的关注，许多国家的政党发来了贺电、贺信，其中很多是国家元首、政府首脑、政党和重要组织机构领导人发来的。在此，我谨代表中共中央致以诚挚的谢意。
The international community has been following the 20th CPC National Congress with great interest. Political parties in many countries have sent congratulatory messages and letters, many of which were from heads of state or government and from leaders of political parties or important organizations. On behalf of the CPC Central Committee, I wish to express our heartfelt appreciation to them all.
刚才我们召开了中共20届一中全会，选举产生了新一届中央领导机构，选举我继续担任中共中央总书记。
Just now, the 20th CPC Central Committee held its first plenary session and elected the new central leadership. I was re-elected as the General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee.
现在我向大家介绍其他6位常委。
Let me present my 6 colleagues who have also been elected to the Political Bureau Standing Committee.
李强同志。
They are Comrade Li Qiang,
赵乐际同志。
Comrade Zhao Leji,
王沪宁同志。
Comrade Wang Huning,
蔡奇同志。
Comrade Cai Qi,
丁薛祥同志。
Comrade Ding Xuexiang,
李希同志。
and Comrade Li Xi.
他们6位里头呢，赵乐际、王沪宁同志都是19届的中央政治局常委，其他同志呢都是19届中央政治局的委员，大家呢也都比较了解。
Comrade Zhao Leji and Comrade Wang Huning served on the Political Bureau Standing Committee of the 19th CPC Central Committee. The others were members of the Political Bureau of the 19th CPC Central Committee. They are all quite familiar to you.
在这里， 我代表新一届中共中央领导，衷心感谢全党同志的信任。我们一定牢记党的性质和宗旨，牢记自己的使命和责任，恪尽职守，勤勉工作，绝不辜负党和人民重托。
On behalf of the CPC's new central leadership, I wish to thank the whole party sincerely for the trust you have placed in us. We shall keep in mind the party's nature and purpose and our own mission and responsibility and work diligently in the performance of our duty to prove worthy of the great trust of the party and our people.
经过全党、全国各族人民共同努力，我们如期全面建成小康社会，实现了第一个100年奋斗目标。现在，我们正意气风发，迈上全面建设社会主义现代化国家新征程，向第2个100年奋斗目标进军，以中国式现代化全面推进中华民族伟大复兴。
Thanks to the concerted efforts of the entire party and the Chinese people of all ethnic groups, we have fully established a moderately prosperous society according to plan, thus completing the first centenary goal. Now we are taking confident strides on a new journey to turn China into a modern socialist country in all respects, to advance toward the second centenary goal, and to embrace the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation on all fronts through a Chinese path to modernization.
新征程上，我们要始终保持昂扬奋进的精神状态，全面建设社会主义现代化国家，寄托着中华民族的夙愿和期待，凝结着中国人民的奋斗和汗水。中国式现代化是中国共产党和中国人民长期实践探索的成果，是一项伟大而艰巨的事业。唯其艰巨，所以伟大；唯其艰巨，更显荣光。
On the journey ahead, we shall always keep an enterprising spirit. To build a modern socialist country in all respects has been the long-cherished goal and dream of the Chinese nation. To make this happen, the Chinese people have offered sweat and toil. The CPC and our people have sought long and hard to open a Chinese path to modernization. This is a great yet enormous undertaking. The enormity of the task is what makes it great and infinitely glorious.
为了这一事业，无数先辈筚路蓝缕，披荆斩棘，进行了艰苦卓绝的奋斗。我们心中永远铭记着他们的奉献和牺牲。我们要埋头苦干，担当作为，以更加强烈的历史主动精神，推进马克思主义中国化、时代化，不断谱写新时代中国特色社会主义新篇章，奋力实现中华民族伟大复兴的中国梦。
Successive generations of Chinese have dedicated themselves to this worthy cause, and with extraordinary efforts, they have blazed a path from modest beginnings. We should always remember their dedication and sacrifice. For our part, we must forge ahead with resolve and take on more responsibility. We must show greater historical initiative in adapting Marxism to the Chinese context and the needs of the times. Write new chapters in developing socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new era, and strive hard to achieve the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation.
新征程上，我们要始终坚持一切为了人民，一切依靠人民。一路走来，我们仅仅依靠人民交出了一份又一份载入史册的答卷。面向未来，我们仍然要依靠人民创造新的历史伟业。
On the journey ahead, we should always act for the people and rely on them in everything we do. To date, we have secured one tremendous achievement after another by relying closely on our people. In the future, we will continue to rely on them in creating new historic achievements.
路道阻且长，行则将至。前进道路上，无论是风高浪急，还是惊涛骇浪，人民永远是我们最坚实的依托，最强大的底气。我们要始终与人民风雨同舟，与人民心心相印，想人民之所想，行人民之所主，不断把人民对美好生活的向往变为现实。
The journey ahead is long and arduous, but with determined steps, we will reach our destination. We will not be daunted by high winds, choppy waters, or even dangerous storms, for the people will always have our back and give us confidence. We will always ride out the storm with our people and stay heart to heart with them. Taking their priorities as ours and acting on their wishes, we will continue the hard work to turn their aspiration for a better life into a living reality.
新征程上，我们要始终推进党的自我革命。一个饱经沧桑而初心不改的党，才能基业长青。一个铸就辉煌来勇于自我革命的党，才能无坚不摧。百年栉风沐雨，淬火成钢。特别是新时代10年革命性锻造，中国共产党更加坚强有力，更加充满活力。
On the journey ahead, we should always press forward with self-imposed reform. A political party can only achieve lasting greatness if it remains committed to its original aspiration, despite the many hardships it has gone through. It can only become invincible if it remains committed to self-reform, even though it has had a glorious past. The revolutionary travails and tempering of the past century, and especially of the first decade of the new era, have made our party stronger and more dynamic.
面对新征程上的新挑战、新考验，我们必须高度警醒，永远保持赶考的清醒和谨慎，持而不息，推进全面从严治党，使百年大党在自我革命中不断焕发 蓬勃生机，始终成为中国人民最可靠、最坚强的主心骨。
Confronted with new challenges and tests on the journey ahead, we must remain on high alert and stay sober-minded and prudent, like a student sitting for a never-ending exam. We must not halt our steps in exercising full and rigorous intra-party governance. We must make sure that our century-old party, the biggest in the world, will become ever more vigorous through self-reform and continue to be the strong backbone that the Chinese people can lean on at all times.
新征程上，我们要始终弘扬全人类共同价值。当今世界面临前所未有的挑战，我们历来主张人类的前途命运应该由世界各国人民来把握和决定。只要共行天下大道，各国就能够和睦相处，合作共赢，携手创造世界的美好未来。
On the journey ahead, we shall always champion the common values of humanity. The world is grappling with unprecedented challenges. We have consistently called on the people of the world to grasp and shape the future and destiny of humanity. When all countries pursue the cause of common good, we can live in harmony, engage in cooperation for mutual benefit, and join hands to create a brighter future for the world.
我们将同各国人民一道，弘扬和平、发展、公平、正义、民主、自由的全人类共同价值，维护世界和平，促进世界发展，持续推动构建人类命运共同体。
We will work with all other peoples to champion humanity's common values of peace, development, equity, justice, democracy, and freedom, to promote global peace and prosperity, and to keep pursuing a shared future for the human community.
中国发展离不开世界，世界发展也需要中国。经过改革开放40多年不懈努力，我们创造了经济快速发展和社会长期稳定两大奇迹。现在，中国经济韧性强、潜力足、回旋余地广，长期向好的基本面不会改变。中国开放的大门只会越来越大。我们将坚定不移全面深化改革开放，坚定不移推动高质量发展，以自身发展为世界创造更多机遇。
Just as China cannot develop in isolation from the world needs China for its development. Through over 40 years of relentless reform and opening up, we have created the twin miracles of fast economic growth and long-term social stability. The Chinese economy has great resilience, potential, and latitude. Its strong fundamentals will not change, and it will remain on a positive trajectory over the long run. China will open its door ever wider. We will be steadfast in deepening reform and opening up across the board, and in pursuing high-quality development. A prosperous China will create many more opportunities for the world.
女士们、先生们、同志们、朋友们，新征程是充满光荣和梦想的远征，蓝图已经绘就，号角已经吹响，我们要踔厉奋发，勇毅前行，努力创造更加灿烂的明天。
Ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, China is embarking on a long journey, one filled with glories and dreams. The roadmap has been drawn, and the bugle has been sounded. We must forge ahead with enterprise and fortitude and endeavor to create an even better future for our country.
几天来，记者朋友们对大会进行了充分报道，向全世界传递中国声音，传播中国共产党主张，使世界的目光注视中国。感谢你们的辛勤工作，大家辛苦了。
Over the past week, our media friends have covered the 20th CPC National Congress extensively. With your help, China's voice and the CPC's views have been heard across the globe, and the world has turned its eyes to China. Thank you for your hard work and a job well done.
欢迎大家多到中国各地去走一走，看一看，客观真实向世界讲好中国故事，讲好中国共产党故事，讲好我们正在经历的新时代的故事。谢谢大家。
We welcome you to visit more places in our country and present to the world unbiased and truthful stories of China, of the CPC, and of the new era we're living in. Thank you.
见面会到此结束，感谢习近平总书记和各位常委。
This is ST Live, and that was the news conference held in Beijing, announcing the new top leadership of the Chinese Communist Party. In the most anticipated moment of its twice-a-decade Congress, President Xi Jinping named the members of its Politburo Standing Committee. These 7 men are the supreme leaders who will rule China for at least the next 5 years. President Xi has also secured an unprecedented third term as the party's general secretary. A third 5-year leadership term solidifies his place as China's most powerful ruler since Mao Zedong, founding leader of the People's Republic. This comes after the week-long Congress wrapped up yesterday with the party approving changes to its charter that cement President Xi's status. In a further sign of its entrenched power, the new Politburo Standing Committee is stacked with President Xi's loyalists and proteges. Out are Premier Li Keqiang and Mr. Wang Yang, who had burnished an image for being reform-minded when he was party chief of Guangdong. Both were from the Communist Youth League faction and have yet to hit the informal retirement age of 68. Mr. Li Zhanshu and Mr. Han Zheng have also exited the stage. So the men who will rule China in the next 5 years are Mr. Xi Jinping himself. Mr. Xi came to power in 2012. Li Qiang, who is actually a native of the Zhejiang province, was Mr. Xi's chief of staff in Zhejiang. He is a trusted protege of Mr. Xi and is now party chief of Shanghai. Zhao Leji, who enforced Mr. Xi's anti-corruption campaign as head of the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection. Wang Huning, the party's chief of ideology and the brain behind the political ideologies of China's three most recent leaders. Cai Qi, who worked with Mr. Xi in both Fujian and Zhejiang and is now party chief of Beijing. Ding Xuexiang, Mr. Xi's chief of staff and his top aide. As director of the General Office of the Central Committee, he runs Mr. Xi's office, working with him day to day. And Li Xi, who goes way back with Mr. Xi and is now party chief of Guangdong. For more analysis on the new leadership lineup, we're joined now by the Straits Times' Benjamin Kang Lim, who is based in Beijing. Benjamin is a veteran China observer who has worked in China and Taiwan as a journalist for almost 4 decades. This is the 6th Party Congress that he is covering. Benjamin, really good to have you with us. We saw earlier how the committee members entered the room. What stands out for you from this new lineup of China's top leaders that has just been announced? Any surprises?
Well, the biggest surprise is not just Hu Chunhua, a two-time Politburo member who was also executive vice premier. Who was a vice premier. He is not in the standing committee lineup. But the other thing is because Mr. Hu Chunhua belongs to the Youth League faction. And for the first time since 1982, the Youth League does not have any representation in the standing committee. I could be wrong, but the Youth League also does not have any representation in the Politburo, 25-member Politburo. I'll have to double check later. But that was the biggest surprise. So this is a severe blow to the Youth League faction.
And what is the balance between the various factions in this standing committee, and what does that suggest about just how powerful Mr. Xi is at this point?
Right. Xi, like you said earlier, is the most powerful leader since Mao Zedong, and that is no longer in doubt. Right. If you look at the new standing committee, right. Number 2, Li Qiang is definitely Xi Jinping's man. Number 3, Zhao Leji was promoted to by Jiang Zemin, but he's also now considered to be Xi's man because he was he is from Shanxi province and his home province, and he served as party secretary in Shanxi once. Right, Wang Huning, the ranked number 4th, he is loyal to he has multiple loyalties. He was first promoted by Jiang Zemin, but he also worked for Hu Jintao and now for Xi Jinping, right? So you can't say that he's totally a Xi man, right? But then all the rest, starting from the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, Cai Qi, Ding Xuexiang, and Li Xi, they're also all 3 are also Xi Jinping proteges, right? So of the 7, Xi now has 5 votes, 5 seats. There are 5 votes. If there is a vote, in the future, then he has 5 seats or 5 votes. Whereas the other 2 are also his men, or can be considered to be his people. So he is very strong.
And who are the new faces to watch this time? Does it look like he has elevated any potential heir, any successor waiting in the wings?
I don't think there are any potential successors because the 205 Central Committee members announced yesterday. The youngest was born in 1970, and there was only 1. And of course, 5 years from now, the 7 up, 8 down rule may not be may not be around because it's been bended again by Xi Jinping this time. But if that rule still sticks, then it has to be somebody born in the 70s for him to succeed Xi Jinping and serve 2 terms. So right now, there are no clear signs of who will be his successor. Of course, the four, Li Qiang, Cai Qi, Ding Xuexiang, and Li Xi, uh, uh, Li Qiang is the front runner should anything happen, should she be incapacitated. But it is not, there's no clear successor, which, if something happens, it could be um, there could be a power struggle.
What do you see as the key outcome emerging from this lineup, and what would that mean for China and for us in the region and the world?
Right. Well, Xi Jinping in his talk was invoked the word people several times. So he's doing this for the people, and he has the best interests of the people in mind. And so it is, these people are to help him achieve the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. Uh, because his policies, he thinks that Li Xi is the best person to implement his policies, right? Hence, he appointed Li Xi as premier or number two in the standing committee, and Li Xi will take over as premier next year because he thinks that Li Xi will be able to implement his policies. But Li Xi has never been vice premier. He has never worked, aside from Shanghai, he's never worked in any other province. And in Shanghai, the COVID lockdown, he didn't do a very good job, or was not perceived to have done a good job. So he's a controversial choice. But Xi Jinping is still going ahead on grounds that, arguing that what he's doing is in the best interest of the people, and he has the people in mind. He's doing everything for the people.
Now, something from yesterday that got everyone wondering and speculating, former General Secretary Hu Jintao's unusual exit from the Congress just as a press conference was about to begin. What do you make of it, Ben?
Right. Yesterday, we spoke to people and tried to find out, and we were told that Hu Jintao did not feel well, that he was sick. But in retrospect, if you look at the Standing Committee and Politburo lineups today, no youth league people at all. So it is understandable why Hu Jintao yesterday fell ill or felt uncomfortable and wanted to leave the premise, right? Because it was not it wasn't good looking, right? And so the speculation, of course, is that it was to demonstrate his unhappiness.
Ben, you are an old hand at these party congresses, having covered 6 of them now. Does this one stand out among all those that you have observed at close quarters?
Of course, this one is just in Chinese they say 跌破眼镜, so it's really raised eyebrows, and it's no one saw this coming. Of course, some Western media predicted Li Qiang will be premier, but a lot of other things were not predictable. But ST, we got the TMC Vice Chairman Zhang Youxia staying on, and we got that right? But it's because the Communist Party is still one of the most opaque political parties in the world. So it's very difficult to predict lineups because there are no campaigning is banned. We don't know who the candidates are. So there are hundreds of permutations. But one thing we can tell from this party is that seniority, retirement rules, and precedent do not count anymore, right? So Xi Jinping is really strong, and he can do whatever he wants, or according to his wishes, right? Because what is our definition of strength? Strength means you can do what you want, right? Whatever you want. And it looks like that this time, a lot of the norms, a lot of the precedents have been smashed and broken, and so he can do what he wants. But as he said earlier, it's in the best interest of the people. It's for the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, because he thinks that he is leading China down the right path.
No, in terms of his strength, you were talking about strength earlier, compared to the National Congress in 2012 and 2017, how much more powerful do you think President is this time round?
Right, can I share with you the front page of the People's Daily, right, the first plenum from the 15th Party Congress, starting from the 15th Party Congress. I don't know if you can see this clearly, right? So this is the 15th Party Congress, right? And you can see Jiang Zemin and Li Peng on the same level, but of course Jiang Zemin is up there. This is 15th Party Congress, right? This is the 16th Party Congress when Jiang Zemin handed power over to Hu Jintao. But as you can see, Jiang Zemin and Hu Jintao are still in the same on the same role, right? This is the 16th, right? And then next, of course, is the 17th Party Congress, right? Now, this layout, the layout of the People's Daily, the People's Daily is the official newspaper of the Communist Party. It's the mouthpiece. So this layout is politically correct, right? And editors spend hours debating how to lay it out, right? Here, 17th Party Congress, Hu Jintao took over, right? And he's the only person on the first row, right? 18th Party Congress, Xi Jinping takes over from Hu Jintao, and you see them, the two of them shaking hands, but Xi Jinping's speech, he's alone on the first row. 19th Party Congress, right, was already like this. So it's pretty telling, the front page of the People's Daily. The 19th Party Congress, Xi Jinping was already number one, right? He was already numero uno. And so this time, reinforce that further, right, by basically excluding the Youth League from the Standing Committee, from the Politburo.
Thank you very much for your analysis. Benjamin, the Straits Times' Benjamin Kang Lim in Beijing. Also in Beijing is the Straits Times' China correspondent Danson Cheong, who is standing by just outside the Great Hall of the People. Danson, you were there witnessing the momentous unveiling of China's most powerful men. What is the mood like at the Great Hall of the People?
Hi, Linda. Thank you so much. Yes, we're here in front of the Great Hall of the People. I can tell you the mood just now was one of anxious expectation. These party congresses are week-long events, but they really build up, to this day when the new Politburo Standing Committee and the 25 or 24-member Politburo is revealed. I think in the days ahead, there's going to be a lot of excitement looking at all these new personnel appointments and trying to figure out, what Xi's policy priorities are going to be, for his third term.
Now, the CPC has been described as a highly choreographed dance when nothing is left to chance. You have been reporting from there all week. Can you tell us what it has been like for the delegates, the residents of Beijing, and for yourself as a journalist?
Well, then I think I can make 2 points. I think first of all, as you say, it's a highly choreographed event. Nothing, goes, without, nothing happens that, isn't planned. So yesterday, when we saw former party leader Hu Jintao being led out of the hall, I think to us there was clear that it was something that was not supposed to happen. So it was incredible, and remarkable to see something like that happen simply because these events are so highly choreographed and nothing goes off script. It led to all sorts of questions about, what's happening, why is this happening? The fact that Chinese politics are so opaque, that these little tidbits, cause analysts to sort of pore over them and to see, if they can glean any insights from them. The second point I'd like to make is that, as you know, COVID numbers in China are increasing, including in Beijing. We've heard of more and more communities here being locked down. In fact, there are 4 colleagues in the bureau who have been affected by some form of restriction or the other in the past week or so. You can sort of imagine that, authorities are extra heavy-handed than usual because all their bosses are here meeting Xi Jinping here at the Great Hall of the People, and nobody wants to embarrass their superiors, during this important meeting. So I think we're looking forward to some of this pressure being lifted once this party congress is over. Yeah, I think that's what I think I'm looking forward to. But here's a taste, of what life was like over the last few days here in the COVID bubble in Beijing.
I'm standing here in front of a hotel in Beijing where local and foreign journalists have been placed in a closed loop for the 20th Party Congress. By the time we get in front of the new Politburo Standing Committee on Sunday, we have been in isolation for 5 days. So security here is quite tight. We can leave our rooms, but we can't leave the hotel. And we have to test for COVID daily, sometimes twice a day. At meal times and working in the press center, they've put up all these plastic screens to segregate people from each other. So being here, you get a real sense, of how much the party wants the party congress to go off without a hitch. Party congresses are held only once every 5 years, and they are tightly choreographed events. And you get the sense, that nothing is going to upset this one, especially not COVID.
Well, Danson, it certainly looks like a very carefully orchestrated affair, and we really appreciate the extra measures you've had to take to bring us the latest. Now, before we let you go, now that the party's top leadership reshuffle is at this point complete, what happens next?
Also, what we have here are the sort of party positions that have been just announced. So in the next few months and days, we'll see some of these new appointments being placed into their government positions or their new party positions. So these are the new things I think that we'll have to look forward to in the days ahead.
Thank you very much, Danson. Danson Chong there reporting from Beijing. And our coverage continues on straitstimes.com and on Facebook as well as YouTube. Don't forget to hit subscribe to stay informed and activate the bell icon on YouTube to catch live news updates. I'm Lin Li Fu. Thanks for watching.